What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is the Fayee snow tire military truck. They paid a lot of attention to detail on this thing. Like, the doors don't open here on the sides, but the rear view mirrors do move on both sides. When you pop the hood, that's where your battery goes. It came with this nickel cadmium 700 milliamp hour 6 volt, and it has this connector on here. Not sure what this connector is called. Usually when I see something with these type of batteries here, I usually swap it out for LiPo, because it seems like you can always go up a few volts on here, maybe 2 or 3. This one says 6 volts, so I went with a 2S LiPo, and it works pretty well. I've been running it on LiPo since I got it, and it hasn't been causing a problem or looking like it's wearing out or anything like that. It seems like that helps it run a little faster. That's the reason why I do that. And this battery does have a JST connection, and I just make sure that the wires line up correctly there. You have red on this side and red on this side on this one, and so I will plug it in that way. You have to be careful if you're doing this to make sure you don't plug it inverted, because you'll ruin the truck. It'll fry the circuitry immediately. I found out from some of my viewers that these are called leaf spring suspension. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see if I can get it up in here. Can't really see it, but this is it under here. Seems like a pretty easy and durable way to apply suspension to a truck. And these tank tracks are pretty much the star of the show here. Really makes this thing feel unique. The tracks really give it a hobby grade feel to it. The tracks are pretty soft, and sometimes they do come off. I have had them come off when my kids pull on them and stuff like that, or when it's running, my kids might grab the back and it'll make one of the tracks come off. But for the most part, it's easy to put back on, and it works well with the tracks and all. It's not really that fast, but it's fast for a tank, so you can't expect to be racing with this thing or anything like that. It doesn't hit those type of speeds, but it does move pretty fast. And these wheels do provide quite a bit of traction, and it does have a little bit of power, especially with the LiPo instead of the nickel cadmium batteries. And it does do some climbing. Not bad at climbing, but it does have problems with things that are higher than these treads here in the front, because the tracks do pivot forward a little, and that stops it from climbing over things higher than here sometimes. So a lot of times you have to turn it, and once you turn it, sometimes it'll straighten out or it'll tilt back and allow you to climb over it. So pretty tricky to articulate with this thing, but you can get it climbing over some nice things. I have found that I can run it through puddles of water because it sits up pretty high. As you can see there, pretty high clearance underneath here, and so you can run over maybe about an inch of water. An inch high puddle should be no problem for this thing. Not sure if it's completely waterproof, but I have been running it in the rain. It has some nice lights on the front, so it looks really cool when it's running in the rain or in a shadowed area. And it does have a little bit of haul space here in the back of the pickup. And oh yeah, the steering is just bang bang steering, all or nothing, no proportional steering. That's one thing that I was kind of disappointed about. And this is the transmitter here, pretty small little transmitter, cheap and toy grade, but at least the throttle is proportional and you can go backwards with it. The on and off switch is on the bottom under here. And I did take this apart to have a look at the motor, and the motor seems to be one of the motors from the Tarantula X6, or maybe you guys are more familiar with the Cyma X8. Well, that's the size motor that this thing has in it. It only has one, so it's not super powerful, but it is powerful enough for something like this. The Fayee snow tire military truck. Thanks for watching.